Hey guys, thanks for clicking. I'm just reacting to some news about the LA riots. So we're just having a look at some of these videos. So let's just watch.
Questions about whether these protests that we've seen in Los Angeles are actually full-fledged riots or what we're exactly seeing.
So there's the riots been going on.
Brian Higgins, a lecturer at John Jay College of Criminal Justice, a former police chief with decades of experience,
they're
someone who was with the National Guard for 8 years. So again, a lot of experience there. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us and help discuss all of this. We appreciate it.
To detain
Thank you, Josh, for having me.
People who are in the country illegally and stuff.
I ask you here, can you define a protest versus a
throwing items at a police officer in a car, damaging an officer's property, or hurting an officer? You have violence.
And this
is it's a riot. Like, there was a lot of people in the media calling it like protests. It's like, definitely it's not that. It's a riot.
Video here from Los Angeles.
People are like breaking, like damaging public property and like lighting cars on fire to make their point. So that's not a protest
anymore. Some of the Waymos there that were set on fire, vehicles. You also saw fire coming from a police vehicle as well. Now, how does police strategy maybe shift when an event crosses the line from protest to a riot?
So in the world of crowd management, we separate that out between crowd management and crowd control. Crowd management is when it's peaceful and the people who are assembled follow the instructions, are not causing any damage. And that could be anywhere.
Yeah, and they're causing lots of damage, so it's a riot.
A crowd of people. Doesn't necessarily have to be at a protest. Once that crowd of people begin to use violence and they use it collectively as a group, we now have a riot. What we're seeing on the news is obviously rioting.
How does what's happening right now, what we're seeing there out of Los Angeles, compare to maybe some of the other unrest that you've seen happening during your career?
Well, this is very
interesting. This goes on a little bit longer. I'm going to look at some other different one. It's not too long. Now let's look at the looting. I saw there's a looting video.
Begin with breaking news. Another day of protests against immigration raids turning chaotic as several more businesses are looted.
Here, so
several items
they're looting stuff that's
iPhones. Many of them were stolen.
Has nothing to do with
crews now boarding many
anything.
The windows that were broken.
I guess they just wanted to take advantage of the opportunity, even though there's even more police around.
Here, on the fifth night here in downtown LA, officers there, you see them taking at least 2 suspects into custody after they looted this Apple store here on 8th and Broadway. Video showing the store shelves practically emptied out. Again, multiple iPhones, Apple Watches, laptops, chargers, they were reportedly stolen. Glass windows were broken and spray painted.
I kind of thought they would have even better security already, because like previous crimes in like LA, but I don't know.
A large group of people are apparently trying to break in through the front door of a jewelry store on 6th and Broadway. It's unclear exactly what was stolen from there. The owner of one of the looted businesses tells me he witnessed at least 4 attempted lootings in LA's jewelry district last night. Just up the street, officers took down several suspects that looted a shoe palace on 8th and Main. Most of them ran away, but a handful were taken into custody. An unknown amount of merchandise was stolen there. This morning, authorities are condemning the violence. They say this very large group of vandals have nothing to do with the peaceful protesters pushing back against immigration raids.
Yeah, this is a separate crime, I think. Let's look at a different riot video.
It is the fourth day of protests in Los Angeles. Law enforcement has intensified its response, and it's the strongest I've seen since these protests began. Today was the first day I started seeing
thought that was
real
like Ashton
blood.
Kutcher for
Protesters have been shot with rubber bullets. The tear gas is stronger. I've been tear gassed multiple times during these events, and today, even if you are not near or a few blocks away, it really hurts. It burns the skin on your face. Here are officers telling me to go home, and here's that same line of officers when approached by a woman with her hands up, and from what I've been told, was explaining her apartment was on the street behind them. They shot her point blank with rubber bullets in the chest. I firsthand saw people looting. There's been giant explosions all over downtown, and I've been told protesters are setting off homemade explosives. Officers have shot at me with rubber bullets several times today. Today was the first day that if you are pressed, officers will demand your ID and write down all your information. Today, it felt like...
I just think, like, I believe that
It is the fourth day of protests in Los Angeles.
This all stuff is, in my opinion, like, justified. Like, they're doing, like, lots of destruction and stuff. And, you know, like, why not add more, add, the National Guard there to help law enforcement? Because it's, like, this mob size could grow at any point, and there could be, like, even more. They could do anything. Well, they're already doing stuff like lighting cars on fire, I think, and I saw it in some other videos, so let's have a look. Yeah, so they're lighting this video. They're lighting literally like Waymo cars, which I believe are the self-driving cars.
On Los Angeles Street,
that's like,
and from our other angle, from
private
other
property,
Air 7,
public
we were
property.
That, one of
they
them
shouldn't
was
be doing that.
fire. I don't see flames.
It's like a danger to everyone.
I do see the flames further to the right, but we're going to hold on this shot right now because we can see one individual breaking windows on those Waymos, and there's that other Waymo that's on fire. And all three of these, I think I counted 4, have been completely hit by graffiti, a lot of paint, a lot of words and statements being placed on these Waymos. And this is quite an interesting scene, something that you wouldn't see maybe in the riots of 2020 and before that, because we didn't have these automated vehicles that are kind of
automatic
easy to corner and easy to stop.
So these cars, I think you can just go in there and say where you want to go. And it'll just take you there, self-driving cars, which we don't have here.
For their message, and unknown what, you know, the Waymo's response to this is going to be. Do they just kind of shut down and stay put? Obviously, when they're set on fire, they're probably going to be, you know, completely destroyed.
Yeah.
But these are owned by a company. They're not owned by a specific individual. So at least, you know, it's not a sole individual that is now at a loss for a vehicle. You have these corporate vehicles that are probably...
I still think, even though they're not, you know, they're not individually owned, it's just like, to me, it just looks, you know, it's destructive, it's not safe, it's not clean, it's not, you know, very criminal. It's a crime to, like, it's someone's property. Someone owns that car, even though it's not an individual, it's still a company or whatever. And then, you know, like, I think this just isn't the way they should, probably the way they should say their point.
One bit of good news, but this is obviously not anything we like to see. We don't want to see things burning in the streets. We don't want to see all these acts of vandalism that we're seeing now taking place on the Chinatown side of the 101 freeway. And we're seeing a lot of these protesters move northbound on Los Angeles Street. I'm not sure if that was from the activity that we saw a little bit closer to Temple and Los Angeles Street, where those mounted officers from LAPD kind of clashed a few minutes ago. I'm not sure if that's what's spurring these protesters to continue northbound on Los Angeles Street, or if they're just kind of moving forward of their own will.
They're burning up the cars. There's lots of them.
This collection of Waymo vehicles, I think
they're also not very colorful. As you can see, they're wearing like black and gray.
I had eyes on this section
There's not
of the street,
they're not wearing very colorful clothes.
Before Mayor Bass started talking,
and this was not here. We were seeing a vehicle.
Yeah, and
I
the
think
Mexican
that truck
flags
is there a
there.
little further. If Rob pans to the left, there was a truck with some people on the back of the truck,
Sorry.
possibly speaking, making announcements. And I thought that was maybe one reason why people were continuing northbound on Los Angeles Street. But
So
now
they're
we
on the
see
truck
these Waymos
for
that
some
may have just
reason?
got,
I don't know.
you know, these automated vehicles maybe don't know that there's a protest. They don't have that programmed into their software to be aware of that, so they probably just drove into it. And people, you know, they know that if you stand in front of it, they just stop. And people are obviously taking advantage of that right now. And you can see one person leaning on the hood, taking a selfie with that.
So
Waymo
very
that's on
dangerous
fire.
to be
And,
anywhere
a lot of
near that. I
messages from
don't
protesters,
like that could explode for
being
any
painted on these
second. I don't
Waymos
get
right
why
now
they're
on
just
a
standing
Sunday
around
night.
it like it's safe.
Things devolving in some parts of downtown, and
But,
you
you know,
do not want to see this happen.
Yeah, pretty bad.
This space heater is being called the Tesla of heaters.
G'day, Lauren.
In my first ever real story,
The governor of California.
From the president. Trump also activated 4,000 National Guard troops from the
Look
president.
at this video.
Trump businesses in Los
Yeah,
Angeles.
so those are
cleaned up
the
on
businesses
Tuesday
that
after a
looted.
night
It's
of unrest
costing
as protests continued
these
against
businesses
President
money,
Donald
lots
Trump's
of money.
deportation efforts in the city.
I think they should
On day
probably.
5 of the
I don't know if they
ongoing
can do that. If they can
demonstration,
sue
hundreds of U.S. Marines arrived in the
the
Los
mayor,
Angeles
the governor,
area under
like
orders
the
from
government
president.
or
Trump
council.
also activated
like-
4,000 National Guard troops to quell protests.
Well, I mean,
Despite
they can't.
objections
I mean,
from
they're
California
doing
Governor
something
Gavin Newsom that the deployments are politically motivated.
these people.
Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass said federal intervention was not warranted.
This was not needed. The idea that the administration would usurp the authority of our state government, take it away, thinking about calling upon.
He expected
Trump.
troops to remain in the area.
Until there's no danger. It's easy. Look, it's common sense. You ask me that question. When there's no danger, they'll leave.
Trump also left open the possibility of invoking
Which
the
there is a
centuries-old
danger. They like
Insurrection
break,
Act,
they're
which would allow the
destroying
military
things.
to take part directly in civilian law
And I
enforcement.
saw mention.
If there's an insurrection, I would certainly invoke it. We'll see. But I can tell you, last night was terrible. The night before that was terrible.
Meanwhile, congressional Democrats condemned the deployment of military. We. Oh,
I get to work.
President.
in my first
We do have some announcements. I want to go in and look.
We start news day in the United States. We start news.
G'day, Lauren. G'day, Lauren. What's the latest? What's happening?
All right, if you're... let's get started with the latest.
I want you to take a good look at your.
What do you make of the fact that he says...
Okay, we'll get back to that story later. We'll get back to that story
And now
later. Donald Trump
did
is
some
speaking in Fort
I think,
Bragg, North Carolina, about the LA riots.
A speech.
Their countries would bus them or drive them right to our border and say, go in there. You ever come back, we're going to kill you. And we got them, and we're getting them out of here. I want to applaud the courage and the strength of the incredible troops who are right now standing guard to protect federal property and personnel and uphold the supremacy of federal law. That's what they're doing. They're protecting our ICE agents. They're protecting the police in Los Angeles. The head of
Also,
the
yeah,
police in Los Angeles, a
I
good
do
man.
support
I hear
Trump.
a good man, but
I think
he was
everything
actually
he
saying
says
we
is
really
pretty
did
true.
need this help. It had gotten away from them. It had long gotten away. So the time when you stop an invasion, they're wearing troublemakers, agitators, and insurrectionists. They're engaged in this willful attempt to nullify federal law and aid the occupation of the city by criminal invaders. That's what it is. Invaders, no different.
I agree.
Their
honestly.
position is that the rioting will not stop unless ICE withdraws from Los Angeles and ceases the enforcement of federal immigration law. In other words, they came in here illegally. Many of them came out of prisons and jails, the most heinous people. They came from all over the world. They came from the Congo in Africa. They came from Asia. They came from the prisons of these places. They were put into the United States and allowed to stay here because we had a grossly unfit president who listened to whoever was operating the auto pen. And they allowed these
Yeah, I don't
people
know
to
what
say,
that
and by the
that's
way, I've
about.
known this
Auto
guy for a
pen. I
long
didn't
time.
even know
He
you
was
can
never the
have
sharpest
something
bulb.
automatically
You know what
signed
he
your
wasn't
signature.
a radical left lunatic.
I didn't even know about
He
that.
never dreamt about open borders. He never said that when he was of sound mind, which actually was a very long time ago. So sad what they've done to our country. I will say that
Yeah, it is like
without question,
sad
however,
what they
you're seeing
did.
the
Like
financial numbers.
there's
We've
all the
now got the hottest country anywhere
the
in
young
the world.
women who like were
And
raped
6
and
months
killed.
ago, it was the
Like
coldest
people who were like
country. We're
killed
being
by
laughed
illegal
at all
immigrants.
over the world.
That's bad.
I was in Saudi Arabia, Qatar.
Yeah, another thing, like if
UAE.
you did if you tried to do any of these things in like Saudi Arabia or something, like, you know, these countries are really strict. Like you wouldn't be able to, like, you would never get out of jail for one small little thing in those countries. Like,
We brought back $5.1 trillion into our country, and all three leaders, they're great leaders, all three said, you know, you are presiding over the hottest country anywhere in the world. And they said the exact same thing they said 6 months ago.
Okay, that's where we leave the US president there, who said of the LA protests, they're protecting police and ICE agents in LA, the National Guard. The service members are defending the Republic itself and stopping an invasion.
yeah, so I think, you know, I think what he did was right. Like I saw, so they're protesting outside of like the detention center where they're being detained, the people who were arrested in the ICE raids. So, and they're coming up like just like trying to protest there. So, and they're being like that, like a bit violent in nature. So it's not a big deal that he sent them. So I think it's fine, to be honest. And yeah, so that's all I'm going to react to today. Thank you for watching. Thank you for clicking. Don't forget to leave any nice thoughts if you have any.